Lord over all spirits, Jesus heals the son of Zacchaeus. When the Jews heard what I said, they became upset, and a few of them said amongst themselves, "The Pharisees were right after all when they persecuted this Galilean, for by his words it is clearly revealed that he will set up the Romans, who take him for a god on account of his sorceries, against us, and they will certainly take away all our rights and make us all their slaves. If he is the one who is to return the lost kingdom of God and its justice, and if this shall come about by what he has revealed to us now, then he can keep his kingdom of God and its beautiful justice to himself. If he continues to proclaim ever louder this kingdom of God and its justice to us Jews, then it could very well happen that the Jews will strangle him before he has a chance to do the same to them with the help of the Romans." Upon hearing such talk, my disciples said to me, "Lord, do you not hear what these people are saying? Will you let them leave this place unpunished?" Said I, "None of them have stretched out their arms to grab hold of me as of yet, so why should I punish them? I have spoken first, now they deliberate amongst themselves, and they begin to clear out, for the taste of my words did not tickle their palate, and I do not punish the blind for this. However, should they lay their hands on me, then the punishment will come over them, as I have shown you several times already. Thus we shall let them discuss unpunished and go their way. Let us now enter the house of our friend Zacchaeus, and he will prepare a midday meal for us." After these words of mine, we entered the house of Zacchaeus, and he immediately had bread and wine brought to us, and commanded his people to do their best and serve us as well as possible. We were now sitting in a large and well-equipped room, and had refreshed and strengthened ourselves with bread and wine. Thereupon our Zacchaeus began to thank me with all his heart, because I told the people from Jerusalem, whom he detested, that which they had deserved for a long time already. For although Zacchaeus was a descendant of Abraham, he was a Samaritan, and therefore all the more hated by the people of Jerusalem. He asked me if I was against the fact that he was a Samaritan. But I said to him, "Remain who you are, and be righteous, out of true love for God and your neighbor, for thereby you will please me more than the Jews, who kiss the gold of the temple and chase away the poor from their gates with dogs. Therefore I will soon have them be chased away as well, scattering them among foreign nations across the whole world. And in the future they will no longer have a country to call their own, and they shall no longer possess a kingdom. We shall let them go their own way and sin until their measure is full." After this short speech of mine, Zacchaeus thanked me once again, and asked me for some advice as to what he should do with his eldest son, who was already 16 years old, but had grown insane 3 years ago, and only descends into greater madness every day. He had already called upon all the best and well-known doctors, and they all had attempted to heal his son. Yet all their knowledge and effort brought not only no results, but after each doctor's treatment, his son's condition had only worsened. Thereupon I said to Zacchaeus, "Friend, no earthly doctor can heal such afflictions with his herbs. Bring your son here, and you shall see the power of God's glory." Zacchaeus ordered his servants to bring his son firmly bound out of his securely locked room. The servant said, Lord, that will be quite difficult in the presence of these foreign guests. For firstly, he rages without pause, and secondly, he reeks terribly, more so than all pestilence, because he continues to cover himself with his own excrement. Then I said, just bring him here, for I wish to see and heal him. A servant of high esteem in the house said, "O friend, only God can heal him, but upon this earth no man could ever do so. If you heal him, then you are no man, but a god." Said I, "Be not concerned, merely do what you have been told." The servants went to bring the son, and all my disciples were horrified when they saw him, saying, "His condition is even worse than what we have seen in the region of the Galileans." I rose up, threatened the evil spirits within the son, and commanded them to leave him immediately, forevermore. One more time they pulled the son back and forth, and then they emerged from within him in the form of a swarm of black flies, leaving him for good, and the son's health was fully restored. I said to the servants, "Bring him outside to the spring and clean him. Give him clean garments as well, and then return him here, so that he may partake of the midday meal with us." And so it was done. Now that the son was sitting at our table, healthy and clean, all the relatives and acquaintances living in the house came to our room, utterly astounded at the sight of this fast healing of the son. Zacchaeus proceeded to thank me profusely for my efforts. The chief servant said to me, "Lord, you are no man like we are. You are a true God, one whom we men wish to worship forevermore." While the servant continued to speak, the midday meal was set on the table, and we began to eat. Chapter 29. Why the possession of the son was permitted. During the meal, several asked the healed son, who was now looking fresh and cheerful, if he had to endure much pain in his sickly state. The healed son responded, "How could I know that? I was as good as dead. I did not have any sensation. I was unaware of everything that was going on around me. However, I do remember that I was in a perpetual dream, and I was speaking with good people in a beautiful environment." This was quite a surprise to those present, and they could not understand. Zacchaeus asked me how this was possible, and why it was permitted by God. Said I, "Friend, we shall not lose many words on this matter. During such afflictions, the soul withdraws into the heart, and one, or more often than not, a myriad of evil and impure spirits dwell within the rest of the body, and do with it as they please. Yet the soul resting within the heart does not notice any of this. However, such a possession may be permitted, so that those whose faith in God and in the immortality of the soul has nearly disappeared entirely will begin to ponder the spiritual things, and once again begin to believe in them. Even your faith had already grown feeble, and thus this lesson before my arrival at this abode was essential for you. Had I come earlier, you would not have believed me as you believe me now. And if this evil had not taken hold of your son, of whom you had great expectations, then pride and arrogance would have made such a mess of you that you would have become a true devil among men. You would have driven out every belief in God. You would have considered men to be nothing more than machines, who would only have value to you if they served you free of charge, assisting you in acquiring ever greater riches. But when your son, your darling and your greatest pride, became sick the way he was as I met him here, you changed. Once more you began to think about a God, to believe in him, and you grew humble of heart. Besides that, you also called upon all the doctors that you knew, Gentiles or Jews, it was all the same to you, and paid a great deal for their services. But when you realized that no doctor, no S&E, and even less so any magician could help your son, you were saddened and began to earnestly ponder why God, if he were to exist, would inflict such evil upon you. You began to read the scriptures and discovered more and more that your conduct and actions towards your fellow men were not right. And so you promised God in earnest that you wanted to make up manifold for every injustice that you have committed. When these intentions within you grew ever more earnest and true, and it became increasingly clear to you that only the Almighty Father in heaven could help you, soon thereafter I came to this region, and you heard what I had done for that blind man. That is when your faith in God grew stronger and more intense, for you received a testimony of the old and the young Cato about me. And so there was no more doubt in you that I am not only a prophet, but the Lord himself. And behold, you have matured to the point that I have come to you now, and helped your son with my power. Now, if you will consider all this, it will become clear to you why I permit all manner of evil among those in whose hearts not every heavenly spark of life has been completely extinguished yet. However, when it comes to those utterly wicked ones, who are no longer worthy to receive an admonition from me, such permissions to improve them are left out, of course, for they are of no use to them anymore, merely making the wicked ones even more wicked than they already are. These people consume their own material life, but after this life, their own judgment awaits, and that is the other, eternal death. The one whom I permit to experience all manner of suffering and distress, him I will help when the time is right. However, the one whom I allow to continue to enjoy the proud, earthly life in which he revels unimpeded, he already carries his judgment and eternal death within himself, taking it with him wherever he goes. Now you know why many of those of grand, worldly status and riches may continue to sin and commit atrocities unpunished until the death of their body.